Welcome back, my fellow mobile gamers, to my weekly roundup of the most interesting mobile games I played last week. I'm your host, NimbleThor, and today we're gonna be checking out an awesome samurai-inspired action fighting game, a fantastic new RPG with Heroes of Might and Magic-inspired combat, which, you know, I love if you've been around here on the channel for a while, and an old-school turn-based tactical indie RPG with more features and more systems than most RPGs I have ever played here on the channel. Now, I hope you'll leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more mobile gaming content, and with that out of the way, let's dive into today's first game, Ronin: The Last Samurai. And this is a fun and unique action fighting game with a beautiful ink wash art style and then some Art Hero-inspired rogue-lite progression and stage-based combat systems. With only an attack and a defend button, combat may seem deceptively simple at first, but it very quickly turns into a game of masterfully blocking incoming attacks and identifying each enemy's attack patterns. But most importantly, combat just feels great in this game, and any attack or animation can be interrupted to block incoming attacks, which plays a big part in making combat feel responsive. In fact, if we block an attack at just the right time, it allows us to parry that incoming attack, which reduces the enemy's posture. And this is a very important part of winning these matches, because once posture has been fully reduced, the enemy will get stunned for a few seconds, allowing us to just hit it over and over again very quickly. The core gameplay consists of a series of one-screen stages that each contain a few enemies, and then with bosses at every 5th and every 10th stage. But this is where it gets interesting though, because every time we level up by defeating enemies, we get to pick one of 3 available abilities that will then last until we die, allowing us to gradually grow stronger. So we basically just keep fighting like that, going as far as we can until we eventually do die. And when that happens, we can then equip or upgrade loot found during combat, or spend gold to unlock random new permanent stat boosts to hopefully allow us to progress further the next time, very much like in Art Hero. Ronin: The Last Samurai monetizes through incentivized advertisements to revive once, an energy system that limits our play session length, and in-app purchases for premium currency used to instantly acquire new loot, buy fortune scrolls used to upgrade our equipment, and get more energy. It requires online access, takes up 310 MB of space, and if you can live with the monetization and just play the game for 30 to 40 minutes at a time, which is what the energy system allows us to, it does provide a challenging combat experience that is definitely worth checking out. Next up this week is Rivengard, which is a fantasy-themed tactical RPG with an interesting turn-based combat system that has us build out a large team of heroes to then fight through PvE campaign missions, AI PvP matches, guild raids, and much more, while collecting loot and gold to upgrade our heroes and forge better gear to equip. Every hero in this game has unique stats and abilities, and at the start of every match, we select which heroes to use and where to position them on the hex grid playing field to best counter the opponents. We get to move every hero on each turn in this game, and also attack opponents with normal attacks or abilities if we're within range, much like in the Heroes of Might and Magic PC games, which of course I am loving because those are some of the best games ever made. The terrain even increases the strategic gameplay depth by including bushes to hide in, HP recovering tiles, and even elevated platforms that provide a damage boost. And since there is no auto combat system, each fight feels very engaging, which of course I'm really liking. Progression happens primarily through completing campaign levels and quests that provide shards, laurels, and gacha tokens that we use to unlock new and level up existing heroes. While it didn't hinder my enjoyment of the game, there is an energy system that caps the speed of this progression by limiting our PlayStation length to roughly 20 to 30 minutes at a time. And monetization then happens through in-app purchases for premium currency used to buy chests with resources and items, summon new heroes, and of course recover energy when it has depleted. The game can be played both offline and online. It takes up 424 MB of space, and with a lot of different game modes and a guild system that the developer is actively expanding, Rivengard is a promising and fun RPG that is primarily held back by a monetization system that I know may frustrate some players. And now for something for all the old school RPG fans out there. Let me know in the comments down below if you love yourself an old school RPG, and I'll try to find more of these games whenever I can, because Grim Wanderings 2 is a deep old school indie RPG with turn-based tactical combat, large hex grid maps, lots of quests and random events, and 25 unique character classes. Now, in either the adventure or the strategy mode, we travel a hex grid world to fight enemies, hire new troops and towns, even build new buildings, and of course complete quests or random events. Now, once we're ready in this game, we can then start exploring the many events and locations that each of these hexagon world tiles contain. For example, we may travel to a lake where we meet a fisherman who we can very politely, cough cough, or forcefully ask to share his fish, or, you know, we can just end up robbing him. After we select an action, we're shown 8 cards, of which we get to then pick one that determines if the action we selected then fails or succeeds. This is a very fun system in my opinion because it adds a bit of randomness to the game. It's basically the equivalent of rolling the die, you know, to see if your attack succeeds or not, if you're playing something like Dungeons and Dragons, for example. And I like it, but I get that it's also very frustrating when whatever action you chose does not succeed. The good news here, though, is that there are plenty of events and plenty of quests in this game, so you can just go on to the next one and try your luck again. But I think what impressed me the most about this game is that even though there's already a lot to dive into, the developers have an incredible amount of plans for the future of this game, including an arena PvP mode, an endless mode, many more events, and get this, even a game editor that will allow the community to create its own quests and events. That would be so freaking awesome. Please make that. Please do. The game's biggest flaw, though, is its complex UI system, which, in combination with the overwhelming amount of systems and features that are all available from the beginning in this game, makes it very difficult to get into as a new player. There's also no autosave, which I suppose can either be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you view it, because if you saved before going into a fight and you lost that fight, it's pretty nice that the game didn't autosave, so you can just go back to your most recent save and you can try that all over again. But if you forget to save, though, that can also be incredibly frustrating. So do be aware of that. Grim Wanderings 2 monetizes through occasional advertisements and a 60-minute daily playtime limit, both of which can be removed through just a single $2.99 in-app purchase. The game can be played offline, it takes up only 114 megabytes of space, and if you're ready to dedicate the time it takes to fully understand the game, it may provide just one of the deepest and most unique turn-based RPG experiences on mobile. You did it! You beautiful human being! You made it till the end of today's video, and thank you very much for doing that. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around. The terrain even decreases... The terrain? It decreases the strategic element of the game. Seriously. Please, Ubisoft, just make a freaking good Heroes of Might and Magic game for mobile.